be a worldly perspective on sacrifice, because sacrifice means to draw closely to God. It means to draw closer to God.
But that's not how we use the word sacrifice.
Of course not, but we don't use it correctly, and that's part of the problem. Because we don't use words correctly, and because we don't understand their meaning, we misinterpret, and we don't communicate what we're saying and what we're doing properly. Because for us, sacrifice means that I'm not going to get what I want because I'm going to help you with what you want. That's not necessarily sacrifice.
Okay.
It means that I'm foregoing something for something else.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean sacrifice. It means I'm allowing you to have something, not that I'm not going to get what I want. You know, that's why Jesus said, I die daily for the Lord, because some of his desires, some of the things that he wanted as an individual, his goals and ambitions, he had to put them down because God wanted him to do something else. Are we able to do that? Are we able to come off the plantation and say, well, look, I'm going to work with my children myself, you know, because I know that this society is tried to kill me. You know, am I going to work with my children? Am I going to stop working on that reception there and being a bouncer for that company and then come home and work with my children? Or am I going to work part-time and work and pick my children up from school? Am I going to get 2 jobs? You know, as a father, am I going to get 2 jobs so that my children can, you know, go to those extra clubs or go to racing school, driving school, like Lewis Hamilton's father has been said to have done? You know, what are we talking about?
But does that draw you closer to God, though?
I don't know. I don't know what his mission is, because everyone has to talk for themselves. Because within a nation has its own culture, and there are so many aspects to the culture. There's not just one thing. No one's saying that racing driving, even though I don't particularly think it's anything good, no one's saying that's not something that can't be developed or used in it. For me, it's just sport and play. And for me, it's just sport and play, and sport and play has its place, but not in my time. But that doesn't mean that I can't allow my children to go and do something like that. So it's about what we're willing to do and how we're willing to go about it in order to bring our nation a couple of steps forward. My mother told me, and she made it clear, and I was talking to a sister about this when we went to the event on Thursday, the play about slavery, at the Pyramid Youth Project. I said to the sister that my mother said that she sacrificed and cleaned people's toilets so I wouldn't have to. Now, that was a sacrifice that she made in order for us to go on and have a better education. She didn't want to do that, but that was her way of drawing us closer to God so that we can go on and do better.
The role of parents, the price for peace, sacrifice being the currency, sacrifice, sacred,
that's
to
right.
suffice, sacredness, and Allah will help us to suffice. What came into my mind when you were speaking is Ishmael's sacrifice. Yeah, he sacrificed his son, took him up on a mountain.
Abraham, yeah.
Oh, took him up on a mountain.
Yeah, sure.
Said he's going to sacrifice his son. And the mountain meaning drawing closer to Allah, God.
That's right.
Sacrifice, you know, because we see it as he tried to kill him. Sacrifice that worldly son that we got out there, whose mind is taken by the television, whose mind is taken by the media, who wants to wear his trousers around his hanging behind his posterior, you know? Sacrifice that and switch and use the scapegoat. And we sacrifice that and we send that scapegoat with his trainers, you know, with his jeans hanging around his behind, with all these trappings of this world. We send that out with the scapegoat, the sacrifice.
And it goes... aspects of it, because yes, we may be looking at the teachers and the children and the teenagers, and yes, we could be looking at the father, but all of it is to say that each of us have a role and responsibility within the family that needs to be looked at closely. And that goes for the mothers as well, because as mothers, we have to sacrifice. There are sacrifices that we have to make in terms of being there for our children, in terms of spending time talking to them, in terms of helping to guide them, in terms of not giving them so much freedom. But in me not giving them that much freedom, that means that I can't be out either. I've got to be at home if I'm saying I want them to be at home. In terms of, you know, letting go of the miniskirt, letting go of the little boob tube thing, you know, showing a more dignified sense of myself and showing a more dignified side of myself in order for my children to go, my daughters to go on, and my sons to be more drawn to something more godly or more community related, because each of us have a role and responsibility to our community, and how we come out of our houses and how we present ourselves to our community is a responsibility too. You know, so each of us have to look at where we are, you know, and not blaming the youth or not blaming the fathers or not blaming the mothers, not blaming the youth. Not blaming the fathers, because sometimes, you know, and sometimes brothers and sisters, the fathers want to be there, and that's why I said fathers have to fight for parental responsibility, because sometimes they want to be there and they're barred from doing it. Other times they don't want to be there and they're hauled in front of the courts or wherever because they don't want to be there.
Fathers for justice. Not just ice.
But it also needs to be justice for fathers and justice for mothers and justice for the, but we have
family.
But we have to understand what justice is. And in order for us to do that, each of us have to make a sacrifice. Mothers, we have to make a sacrifice. Let go of the I'm selfish kind of attitude and start being, I can't do it. But start being mothers. Learn to understand the role of a mother, because we're taught within Islam, and Minister Ava said it so beautifully. She said our children are our power base. The family is the power base of the black man, but the children are the power base of the black woman. So every time we let go of, you know, every time we sacrifice a part of something that I want to do in order to take up what God wants us to do, we grow and develop in accord with our nature. And that's where the sacrifice really comes into it, and how it helps us to grow and develop. And that's the price we pay. However, the price that we're paying isn't only for today, but is for tomorrow and the day after and our whole future. And it should be worth it, and it is worth it in order for us to see a change.
Well, sister, we've reached that time. So I know you've got some powerful words to close off this third part of Life Cycles trilogy. So it's on you, sister. Yeah, this is from Minister Ava's book. It's Real Love. And Minister Ava is an absolute inspiration. And again, she's teaching us and sharing with us aspects of our roles that we don't even know, you know, as mothers and fathers, you know, that we haven't been taught. Anyway, I'm just going to read 2 paragraphs from her book, okay? And this chapter is called Children, the Power Base of the Black Woman. That's right, sister. Your children are not your burden, they're your power base. Like the black man has been tricked into avoiding marriage, you've been tricked into avoiding motherhood. By motherhood, I don't mean having babies, I mean teaching and nurturing divine beings. You've been misled into thinking that teaching your children, a time-consuming and demanding task, cramps your style. So you've given them to somebody else. I have to work, we need money. Fine. In exchange for a little money, you've given up the very base of your power. See, we're not taught this, you know, brothers and sisters. We're not taught that they're the base of our power and we're the base of the black man's power, that we're all a unit. Let's go on. She also goes on to say, there have been generation gaps between us and our youth since time immemorial. The children born today appear to be rebellious, just as we appeared rebellious to our parents. But their music, their dress code, the way that they're doing things is an expression of complete dissatisfaction. Therefore, the desire is for a complete change. They know that this world can't remain the way that it is. Though they're not religious, they're very spiritual. Their complete rejection of a world which has rejected God is manifesting in violence because they don't know how to handle their power. We've been given that power too, brothers and sisters. We have that power. But because we have to learn how to exercise that power, we can share that with our children when we do that. So it's about each of us taking up our responsibility within the family. Mother, father, children, aunties, uncles even, all of us, in order for us to then become whole. May Allah bless us, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. How would that call my phone?
I don't know. How strange.
Them time of morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to see who was on the phone. Cheeky enough to be calling it. What time is it?
Probably one of the listeners.
Sister Janet, can you shut up, please?
That's right.